welcome to Broadcast in Bed with your host, Brendan Getchis. And welcome to the new bed. Now, the new studio does have some issues, and we'll get those addressed and upgrade in a few weeks. I mean, there's tiny things here and there, like the oncoming shadow realm to my right, and some lighting issues. But it is a party in my bedroom, and you're all invited. So let's get down with some national news. Flying a bit under the radar this week for more credit-worthy technology stories, the FBI and CIA have begun to remove all traces of Kaspersky Labs from U.S. government agencies. Now, Kaspersky Labs is a Moscow-based cybersecurity firm, providing services like antivirus and anti-malware for computers, and apparently was utilized by several non-military U.S. government agencies, and can only imagine was considered a risk after a short review. Hey Tim, with all the hacking stuff lately, you think we should have a Russian company running all our cybersecurity here? You know what, Bob? I don't know. Let me call the boss. Boop. Beep. Beep. Boop. I'm on hold. Hello, Mr. President. Yes, you are the best. Now, should we get rid of all the Russian stuff on our computers? No, sir. You won't have to get rid of your bookmarks for those Russian model websites. No, not at all. Why, thank you, sir. Yeah, Tim, we should get rid of that. I mean, there are plenty of very good, even fiscally conservative options for antivirus and anti-malware out there. For example, Avast, if you enjoy manifestations of your own regret, like parrots or children. Or Norton Antivirus, if you enjoy data versions of herpes. But say you think that this is just all too much paranoia, we don't need to get rid of Kaspersky Labs. Let me remind you that Kaspersky and Kremlin do start with K. Also, Rusky and Kaspersky rhyme. It's all connected. In popular news, I want to point out a disturbing trend in music lately, as 1 out of every 2 new artists I discover seem to have a song featuring Quavo. I'm calling it the Quavo effect, and it began slowly with the rise of the rap group Migos and their smash hit Bad and Bougie. But I didn't know how bad it could possibly get. Ground zero was Minnesota, and the Quavo effect wasted no time to get the let out to the far reaches of Portland. From there, Quavo started swerving down south to get home, and the sway east was immediately devastating. Before you could say, oh my God, the Quavo effect covered the entire continental United States. What are you thinking? That you're Mr. Perfect and could possibly predict that this devastation would come? Nobody knew Quavo's true trajectory. Believe me, I'm the one who tried. So, all that's left is to have a good drink. Pick up the phone and say, congratulations. And that was the history of the Quavo effect. Skirt, skirt. In world news, a lawyer investigating the death of an Italian Cambridge student in Egypt has been secretly arrested at the airport. Shh. Don't tell anyone. The lawyer, Ibrahim Metwali Higazi commonly represents Egyptian families who have had relatives disappeared by the Egyptian government. And at the time of his arrest, was on his way to the United Nations Conference on Forced Disappearances, where he was the Egyptian representative meant to address the entire delegation pertaining to the current situation in Egypt. Kind of proving his point there, fellas. But even more interesting is the death of that Italian Cambridge student that led to his disappearance. It's something straight out of a Hollywood movie. So you better be listening, Ben Affleck. On January 25th, 2015, Giulio Regini was a Cambridge PhD candidate who disappeared while researching Egyptian labor unions in the midst of President Sisi, seen here holding in a fart, using the National Security Agency, or NSA, to investigate pro-democratic institutions and crack down on them within Egypt. The Italians didn't take too kindly to one of its own citizens vanishing, especially because Italy has a long history of organizations that are pretty good at this kind of thing. So they send in their own investigation team, and within 9 days, suddenly the Egyptians were able to find Giulio Regini's body. An autopsy would reveal burns, marks, and bruises that are consistent with Egyptian standards of torture. After this, quickly the NSA found itself in a shootout with 5 unidentified men in a van, who they would later say were the kidnappers of Giulio Regini, when they were able to produce his passport on one of the bodies. Now, the Italian investigators thought something smelled funny in the tabbouleh, and after searching through the phone records of the would-be kidnappers, found that the closest one was 60 miles away from the site of Giulio Regini's disappearance, the night he disappeared. But after researching the records for the officers involved in the shooting, found that they had previously been contacted by national security agents before the shooting, and found that they were given instructions and identified themselves as people that were monitoring Regini before his death. So with these phone records, the NSA was forced to admit they had publicly monitored Regini, but continued to refuse allegations that they had any part in his disappearance. In response, Italy gave up. They sent all the investigators home. See, Italy is put in an awkward situation here. The death of one of their own citizens at the hands of a foreign government that is actively cracking down on democracy is terrible. But for them, Egypt is also one of the largest trading partners in the Mediterranean and committed allies to monitor the situation in the neighboring country of Libya, which is having its own political crisis at the time. Not wanting to jeopardize these relationships, Italy pulled back, allowing the NSA to this day to say that they are still searching for the culprits. In the meantime, not even the Hardy Boys would take on this case. In business news, Nestle is going for the bottle with an approximately $425 million purchase in Blue Bottle, a specialty coffee company. Blue Bottle is considered a third wave coffee company, which means I missed the first and second wave, which is probably good because I can't swim very well anyway. Third wave coffee companies and cafes are trying to make coffee a more luxurious item. Imagine for a moment your local coffee shop, where a welcoming coffee consultant comes to help you pick the perfect caffeinated beverage to start your day, and then expertly drip pours the finest grounds from this side of the Orient into your selected mug. But before he can give it to you, and artisan oak leaf flourish. While you're still 10 minutes late for your job because you thought the quickest way out of this joint was the daily special. Meanwhile, Nestle seems to be turning over a new leaf and looking for new horizons to invest in, going from a product that requires small, brown, labor-intensive beans to be taken from African and South American countries, to investing in a product that requires extracting small, brown, labor-intensive beans from African and South American countries. Overall, Nestle has had a very successful year, growing at 6%, and shares closed at $80.96 on September 15th. And that's all the news I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me in the new bed. Remember, don't start your day on snooze. Start it with this news. Broadcast in bed with your host, Brendan Getches.